Hello guys, I'm back again with another review, this time of Varsity Blood from 2014, and I've got to say it's got a really good cover of the artwork, and you know what that means? That means the film's going to be bad. Yes, I've noticed whenever a cover seems to have a really good cover nowadays, and it's really artistic and really cool, it normally is a bad movie. So basically, this came out in 2014 in August, and it stars Lexi Giovanni, who was in Bloody Homecoming. I liked her as Lauren, and I enjoyed that movie. Wesley Scott, Debbie Roken, Natalie Payton, Blair Jackson is the big Melody Haran, Jesse Ferraro, Jesse Ferraro. Um, who was also in Bloody Homecoming. I thought that name was familiar. Kiara Hogan, Chris Hilsick, Peyton Woods, and basically that's all that matters. Because basically the film starts out and they're on the field because the boys play American football, and basically they've got cheerleaders, and then it's not a big team or a big amount of cheerleaders, but it's enough, you know. So you're watching the movie, they bully this boy called you know what? I can't remember his name. What was his name? Let me have a quick look. They bully this boy called Herman. That's right. They bully Herman. Sorry about that. They bully this boy Herman, then he disappears, basically. For the rest of the movie, he disappears. That's right. He sends them a text and he's not there. So basically, you meet Tina, who's basically the head cheerleader and the biatch of the movie. And you're like, whoa, yeah, she's going to be a whole lot of fun. So basically, she says to Diane, you come in, and Diane says no, because she's going to get in the shower. So you see her in the shower, but you don't see her naked, you just see her in the shower. Yeah. Then you don't see her put her clothes on, it kind of gets her in the towel to the thing, and then her putting her bra on. And then there's a noise. Doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. And then basically she gets attacked by someone in the mascot clothing. Now this mascot clothing looks like it came right out of Scooby-Dooby-Doo. We're looking for you. Right at Scooby-Doo. So you're like, it can't get any more funnier than this, surely. So then basically you get to meet the girls more, get to know that maybe one's stepsister sleeping with her boyfriend, one's a dirty slut, you know, the usual stuff. And then basically Hannah talks to her friends, and they basically explain to her about how this brother went crazy because his sister got killed, and because the sister got killed, he went crazy, and his dad has been really suffering from it because she got killed in a drunk accident, they said. And Hannah's like, oh no, because she got the cheerleading spot for where the girl who died was. And you're like, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So you're sitting there and you're like, wow, that's a bad story. So then basically they all want to go to this party place in the middle of nowhere. They drive up to this house, and some of them snort cocaine, some of them do this other stuff. You've got the stepsister. You've got the stepsister in the truck with the boyfriend, and you're sitting there going, it would be nice if they thought he was doing it, but he actually wasn't. But he was. You get to see her breasts, and you get to see her riding him like, woo, and you go like this. Well, anyway, so they're having sex, and the killer shoots her with a bow and arrow right through the chest. Now, you don't see it impact, but you see it on her. And then the boyfriend basically runs, and the killer throws the massive wooden axe hatchet looking thing. He throws it, and it goes right into the back of his body, right? And they're like so far apart, they're like nearly a whole, like 70 yards apart. So you're sitting there going, okay, and it looks so wooden when it's in the body because it's wobbling. But you see a little bit of blood, so it's good. I liked it. I like that bit. So basically, they end up telling Hannah the true story that the girl died because they were lifting her up and she fell off them. She fell off them on her back and she died. And all I kept thinking was, this is a mega shitty reason. Like, the other girl falls off as well, but she's wide awake. She's alive. But she was just standing like this far up off the ground. Yet she fell back and killed herself. Died, basically. Killed herself. She's like, I'm dead. And they were like, oh no. And then they got back and the brothers escaped. And they don't know where he is. And he could be the killer. And is he the killer? Well, we're going to get to that in a minute. So, there's a scene where one of the boys, I think it's Blaine, if I can remember his name properly. I think it's Blaine. He decides he's going to snort cocaine on the toilet while there's a killer outside killing people. He then drops it down the toilet next to a used condom and he puts his hand down there. Right? Now, with a killer about, I'm going to get high. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get high. I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm going to play with a condom on my finger. Yeah, that's a good time. You know, we should have been playing some music as well while he was doing it. Well, the killer comes in, holds this headless girl's head. He's like, oh, it's you. And he goes, ah. And the killer pushes his head down and basically drowns him. So he's sitting there going, yeah, thank God for that. You get another death where this girl goes outside to find the case, right? Now, you tell me if this makes sense, right? She goes outside, finds the case, runs to the car. Well, it's a truck. But she gets in it, turns it on, and she sees the killer coming as it's on, so she could just press the drive thing, just drive forward. Nope. She leans over to the passenger seat, and he hits the glass, goes to pull out, she climbs out, she goes towards the tree, the killer gets in the car, well, truck, and basically drives, and while he's just standing there, or sitting in the car, looking at her, she's leaning up against the tree going, and you're like, move out the bloody way. If he crashes into the tree and you're behind the tree, he can't get you because he's going to have to turn. How many people in movies don't realise that if you're in a car or a truck and you're going to hit a tree or a pole, that's going to stop you from hurting the person. So run in a straight line behind it if they're going to go straight towards the tree. But no. We have to have your usual pathetic fodder. So another thing that irritates me with this movie is the fact that the killer doesn't run, he just walks. And in a lot of horror movies, and we know this, especially slasher movies, the killer barely runs and then catches up with them. It's a very annoying cliche of today because you've seen it billions of times. It's either that or they just turn up on the other side of the street, in your house or in the back of your car or something, which is just crazy, you know? So that's a bit meh. So the killer's finally going to reveal himself. He's going, oh, there's another story in this as well with Jeff. There's this geeky kind of guy, Jeff, who's in love with Hannah, and he always has been, apparently. And he wants to ask her out. But she's got a boyfriend called Blaine, who's a bastard. I think his name's Blaine. Yeah, it's Blaine. And basically, he is all over her, basically. Jeff is like, oh, I want to tell her how I feel. And when you see them on screen together, they've got no chemistry whatsoever. He goes to her, oh, don't worry, you'll be so many. She goes, okay. And you're sitting there and you're like, there's no chemistry. These two are boring together. So, here he comes. She gets caught. The killer gets the thing pulled off. And it turns out to be none other than the father of the girl who died. And just sitting there going, is it really? Really? Because you're just sitting there going, I can't imagine this. You're just sitting there going, I can't believe this. Because it's just so stupid. Because the annoying thing is, basically, he's the killer, and I keep getting these pop-ups. Sorry about this. He's the killer, and he starts saying if it weren't for those meddling kids, and you're like, this is Scooby-Doo, but a more adult-y version. And then he says his whole plan and what his dream in life is, and tells her what he had for dinner and all this. Well, he might as well have. And was going on about how he loved his daughter and he's framing his brother, framing his son because his son can't talk anymore, and about how it was all a plan between him and her mum. And you're sitting there going, what? And her mum's going, we won't tell anybody. And he's like, okay. And he stabs her. Right? The policeman comes running at him. This is the funniest thing. The policeman comes running at him when he finds out he killed his daughter. Instead of shooting him, he goes like this, towards him. And you're like, why don't you just shoot him in the head? I was like, most pathetic policeman ever. So basically, then she shoots him and all this stuff, and he gets up again, and then he chases after Hannah, and Jeff turns up again, and then she puts the thing in his head, and the axe thing, and then at the end, she says to the police officer, "It's great, at the quite end of the film when you got the police there, the two policemen that are there." And she says to one, goes, "Are you all right?" And she goes, "Did you ever find his son?" I wish I could remember his name. I wish you could. Did you ever find the son? And he goes, "I don't know. I think so. I'm gonna have to ask." And you're like, convincing policeman. So then you see this basically lantern, like this pumpkin lantern, because it's Halloween, lit up, and you see someone pull a knife out of it, and then that's the end of it. You just see the hand pull it out. And you're like, oh, is there supposed to be a sequel with the son called Pissy Blues or something, Pissy Blood, where they all pee blood because it's so bad? This movie, I enjoyed Bloody Homecoming, and it was a lot like this movie because it had small cast, they were having a party, they were slowly getting killed one by one, even though the other one was a homecoming. It's the same kind of thing, partying kind of thing. It had the same kind of effects when it came to money-wise, the killings and that. But Bloody Homecoming seemed to be a lot better. And watching Bloody Homecoming, I just remember so many different horror movies. As with this, I didn't. I saw it as something that wasn't original, which apparently no slasher is anyway. And it was the characters just like the script, the characters, the presence. The characters didn't have no presence on the screen. The charisma was flaccid, like a rotten penis. The only one I like on there is Lexi Glavangano, and that's because I saw him bloody Homecoming, and I'm just like, none of these characters, I cared about none of them. Jeff, I was like, he looks like he can't pull any woman, not because he's horrible, not because he's gay, not because he's a nerd, but because he just doesn't know how to talk to them like this. Really, this is Jeff. Oh, Hannah, how about I take you home? And you're like, And it feels like they were making up the words after time on the set, because it was like, I'm going to get laid. It's like, I think it's Tina. Tina's getting attacked by the killer, and she grabs hold of a big stick, and she says to the killer, "I bet you didn't think I could handle a big dick." And you're sitting there going, what's that got to do? Why you? I've noticed these cheap C-budget horror movies have a lot of references to either fellatio, giving head, anything sex. And you're sitting there going, if you're going to do it bloody right. Do you know what I mean? Do it right. Don't make it cheesy. Don't make it stupid. Do it at the right time. And the movie doesn't do that. The movie kind of misses all the marks completely. It's like the football. The American football's coming. Instead of them catching it, they might as well be going flying around the world because they're not going to catch it because they're so stupid. So I didn't like the film, but I enjoyed the Scooby-Doo aspect. ridiculous looking outfit. The bit at the end we went, if it weren't for you meddling kids, you know, that raises it up to 2 stars, because when the killer was revealed, it was one of the most funniest things I'd ever seen. Because he started going on about why he murdered people, why he did it, who he was, what he had for dinner, that he was sleeping with her mum, that he was this. And I felt like he was going to tell his whole life story. I actually thought that someone should have come in with a chair, sat him down, and she should have sat on the floor cross-legged like a child and listened, and we should have had a flashback of him going, oh, I'm going to kill the kids because my daughter got killed because they lifted her up while they were drunk. She fell down and I can't accept that. So I'm going to frame my son. And it should have flashed back to her going, oh, nice. I like that idea. And then them trying to chase after her. I expected Fred, Wilma, Daphne and Scrappy and, not Scrappy, and Shaggy and Scooby to turn up. And then it's have the theme song play. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, we're looking for you. Anyway, getting a bit ahead of myself now. So, anyway, the characters were bad. The acting was dreadful. The script was even worse. Whoever wrote this, which is the writer and director, Jake Helgren, he is awful. He shouldn't be in this business. It's amazing how many of these people don't know how to bloody write or direct a movie. I don't know how these movies get made. This movie cost, let's have a look, see if it says how much it got cost to make. Let's have a look quickly. Let's have a look. I hope it does this. Okay, this movie apparently cost, oh, it doesn't say. Normally it says, but it doesn't say. I know Hazard Jack, I think, cost $3 million to make, and that seemed ridiculous. I think it was Hazard Jack. But, you know, it's got a great cover, and to be honest, I think I'd buy the film for the cover. If I hadn't seen it, I'd have bought it for the cover and been happy with that. But it's terrible, so I don't recommend it. I say again, it's for hardcore slasher fans or Scooby-Doo fans. If you've seen all the Scooby-Doo episodes in the world, get this film, and it's the closest thing you'll get to a Scooby-Doo non-related Scooby-Doo movie. Because the killer looks like a Scooby-Doo villain, and he actually looks like one where he takes his clothes off. When they in the cartoon, they used to have the fuzzy hair and be like, oh, if it weren't for those pesky kids. It was just like that. So I highly recommend it for Scooby-Doo fans and hardcore slasher fans. Other than that, I say skip this movie because it's not very good. A disappointment, but, you know, you can't win them all. I just wish the slashers I've seen recently, I just wish they could be more original. I wish you could have more kind of shock, like when I first saw Saw for the first time. The ending was shocking when he gets up off the floor and he says game over. That was shocking. I don't think anybody expected that. And that's what made it so good. And then all the rest slowly deteriorated. But number one to me is a classic because of that ending. You see? And it was fresh at the time. But this, not fresh. It can't be. It's full of cliches. It's just awful. So I don't recommend it. So I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it, no I'm not. I'm going to give it 1.5 because of the Scooby-Doo references throughout the whole movie. I thought it was pretty good, the Scooby-Doo part, but the rest of it was terrible. So as always guys, thanks for watching. Have a lovely day. And if you haven't, please subscribe up here. Thanks guys. Take care. Bye-bye.